Fareed Zakaria, GPS, CNN Sunday morning 10 Eastern and Pacific.
This is GPS, the Global Public Square. Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Fareed Zakaria. We have a terrific show for you today. It goes all over the world. We start with the news about Iran's nuclear program and a debate as to whether the time has come for military action. Then Europe at the breaking point. We ask Mohammed El-Erian, one of the world's most respected financial minds, to tell us whether the Eurozone is about to come apart. Why in the world can't North Korean nurses and doctors come back home from the Middle East? Is a fascinating tale. And finally, back home, the former governor of Michigan, Jennifer Granholm, tells us what her experience of cutting taxes and reducing spending taught her. All this coming up. But first, here's my take. Last week, the International Atomic Energy Agency issued its most serious warning about Iran's nuclear program. It argued that Iran seems to have experimented with various technologies that suggested it was trying to build not just a nuclear program, but a nuclear weapons program. This finding, to be clear, is at odds with the views of the former head of the IAEA, Mohammad El-Baradei, as well as the report issued a few years ago by the United States' National Intelligence Council. It's difficult to be sure what to make of these intelligence judgments because they are judgments that try to determine the intentions of the Iranian regime. One thing is clear. Iran is developing an increasingly robust nuclear program. Having read all the reports, I'm still not sure that anyone knows what Iran's plan is. Is it to develop a breakout capacity, meaning a nuclear program and a missile program, but not actually marry the two together? That would keep Iran within the legal framework of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which it signed and takes pains every year to prove that it adheres to. Or is it to develop the weapons themselves? Frankly, the former would be the smarter course. It would get the benefits of increased influence. It would be seen as having a nuclear capacity, but not attract the total clampdown on trade and other kinds of sanctions that would come from actually having nuclear weapons. But let's take the IAEA report as valid. It still makes the case for some kind of contact with Iran. As he left office as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Michael Mullen said that one of his greatest worries was that we had no communication with Iran. He worried about miscalculations, the misreading of intentions, and thus war. Look, at the height of the Cold War, we talked to the Soviet Union, an adversary we were contesting in dozens of countries around the world. We talked to Mao, a man with a large nuclear arsenal who several times said that he would welcome a nuclear war that would destroy half the world. We talked to Muammar Gaddafi. Meanwhile, we do have a containment policy toward Iran that appears to be having some effect. Its neighbors are allied against it and with the United States. The pressure has restricted the regime's room for maneuver. There appear to be internal tensions within the regime. And yet, rather than keep the pressure on and see if we can find a way to get inspectors in, we now hear calls for war one more time. Let's be clear. We are talking about a preventive war against a country that has not attacked us on the basis of intelligence reports. It is easy to start a war. It is very difficult to predict how it will go and where it might end. I think we need to ask some hard questions before we start launching the missiles.